Hey guys, welcome to today's episode, and I'm so excited. I have Stephen Ezell here, and we are talking all about the toxic dangers in your laundry room and in the rest of your house. So, Stephen, welcome.
I'm so excited to be here. It's going to be amazing.
I'm so excited for you to be here. So, a lot of people don't think about their laundry room being toxic. So, I want you to talk about what are some of the biggest things that can go south in the laundry room.
Well, there's a lot. And I think the biggest thing that most people just don't know is how dangerous and toxic the store-bought kind of blue goo laundry detergents are, fabric softeners, dryer sheets, stain removers. The bulk of these products, Chantel, are actually designed to leave a chemical film on your fabrics, right? The reason why most of the blue goo is blue and gooey is because it's literally designed to leave a blue film on your clothes. And so that underneath artificial light, UV light, there's these optical brighteners to trick your eyes into believing that your clothes are brighter than they actually are. And they're so gooey because, again, not only they're carrying these UV brighteners, but they're also carrying fragrances. And 99 or greater percent of companies never disclose what are the actual fragrance ingredients that are in there. So they designed it to leave fragrance behind, perfumes that could be a pharmacopoeia of toxic chemicals, UV brighteners, like I said, but also, things that remove static. And all of these types of static removing property type chemicals, they're really dangerous. Most of them are petrochemicals. There's actually a little loophole in the law that if a product is less than 1%, like an ingredient is less than 1% in the final concentration, a company doesn't even have to list it on the label. It's pretty crazy. So it's called the fragrance loophole. In the EU, there are over 14,000 products, ingredients that are banned from use, import, manufacturing. In the US, it's up to 14. The laundry room is a toxic place, and it's pretty nuts.
Well, I will tell you, me and my husband were actually in church the other day, and the person that was sitting next to us literally smelled like they poured Gain laundry detergent all over their body and just went like this. And I literally said to my husband, I said, we literally need to move because I'm so allergic to perfume in general, but also to like heavy laundry detergent. And people don't realize that these scented detergents, they have phthalates, which are known to be endocrine disruptors. They are fertility inhibitors. Not that I'm looking to have another baby, but I literally couldn't even breathe. Like I was like gagging because their laundry detergent literally the fumes were pouring out into my side. We literally picked up, went to another place because I couldn't even take it. I don't think people realize how toxic it is. Yeah, go ahead.
What's interesting, Chantel, is that, people like, how did we have this asphyxiation with smell? And it's not a new thing. It's been around for thousands of years because smell thousands of years ago was associated with royalty. People thousands of years ago didn't take daily showers, right? And in response, the wealthy, the elites could afford perfumes and fragrances to cover up body odor. So that was a sign of royalty thousands of years ago, was smelling like something. The difference is what they smell like frankincense and myrrh and like, beautiful aromatics versus this toxic soup that we find ourselves today. In the last 100 years with the Industrial Revolution and the petrochemical Industrial Revolution, the majority of the perfumes and the fragrances that are out there are literally byproducts or distillates of synthesized chemical reactions from the petrochemical industry. And in the sake of protection of intellectual property, again, you can have a cologne, a perfume, a fragrance in a laundry product that can have 2, 3, 500 ingredients. And maybe half of them are totally fine and, in their raw form. But when you combine them all together, they make these new chemical compounds. And there's absolutely no way to test the safety on the human body when you think about the literally endless, like infinite amount of variables that the chemical industry has created. So there's no way to actually test it except for put it on humans and see what happens. So we're
And
the
but
guinea
it's not
pigs.
only the laundry detergent. If you think now people are having these toxic dryer sheets, they're throwing that in without thinking twice. And then on top of that, putting in fabric softeners. So they put in all this toxic laundry detergent, then they want to keep the laundry smelling quote fresh for even longer. So let's put another thick layer of chemicals that not only damage the fibers of your clothes, that make them highly flammable and make them even more stinky. Like, I'm sure the guy who was sitting next to me in church, like, God bless his soul, but he smelled like he had the laundry detergent, the fabric softener, and then threw on the
Dryer sheets.
fabric dryer sheets.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. If you, I dare you, and if you're listening to this podcast right now, as soon as the podcast is over, you're not going to want to miss this, is Google dryer sheet and mouse repellent. And you'll see dozens of viral videos on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, etc., on so many people that use dryer sheets as a rodent repellent. Well, here's what I know about mice. They're not stupid. They don't want to die. And there's a reason why living creatures are fleeing in the presence of these dryer sheets. We humans are attracted to this beautiful fragrance, but these animals know that they are poison and dangerous. Amy and I, we blessed a family that was going through a situation years ago. So we bought them a camper, right? They needed a camper to travel around the country. They were going on a mission trip. So we bought them a camper, and oh my gosh, the camper that we bought, the person had dryer sheets for winter to winterize it all over the camper to prevent mice from showing up. We open up the door. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even walk in here. If it's a very good mice repellent, because mice know that it's dangerous, you probably shouldn't put it in your laundry.
Wow. Let's talk about just regular soap because, I went to the store the other day and it was so funny because I was like, I'm just going to see. I just started going on the back of the ingredients, and looking at what some of the harmful ingredients that are in soap. And I'd love for you to kind of list some of those out of what someone should be careful to look for in the soap. And I'm telling you, when he starts listing some of these items that can cause skin irritation, that can cause allergic reactions, that are hormone disruptors. When he starts listing them, I want you to try to go to the store and go to Target or your local grocery store and start looking on the back and seeing how many of these soaps have these harmful ingredients in the soap. It's almost impossible to even find a soap that doesn't have them. So start listing them out so people can kind of write it down and go to the store and see how many have these, harmful ingredients in them.
I'll add a disclaimer that many of the products that you'll pick up at the store, especially in the cleaning aisle, don't actually list all of the ingredients that they have on in the product. Legally, they don't have to. And a lot of times they'll group classes of ingredients into these kind of general headings. So unfortunately, this is the cleaning area, right? So the cleaning aisle, think about the laundry aisle, which is everything laundry. You go next door and it's everything else from the dishwasher, auto dish machine, right? Dish soap, hand soap, floor cleaners, etc. You have two main aisles almost in every supermarket. The majority of those don't have to tell you what's in, and they don't. Most don't even tell you what's in it, right? So if you are reading the back of a label, first tip, and they don't actually list ingredients, there's a reason why they're not, right? Because consumers are becoming more educated. There are lots of apps that you could use to scan these products in, and they don't want you to know. And they don't have to tell you. So you could easily just discount, meaning don't buy anybody's product that doesn't disclose ingredients. So that's easy. So there's like the first disclaimer. But the companies that are brave enough, right, to tell you, a lot of the eco companies, like the eco type, the green brands, will tell you. And like one of the most popular ingredient in almost every eco product is sodium lauryl sulfate, so SLS. And for years, it was a very demonized ingredient. It's a synthesized plant-based derived ingredient that comes from coconuts, and it doesn't have the same. It doesn't have like endocrine or hormone, carcinogen type responses, but it is a very, very harsh surfactant, very, very high skin irritant. And what happened years ago was the EWG and some PhD moms that got their doctorates on Google said that sodium lauryl sulfate is not safe. And then the EWG and some others then started advocating for SLES, so sodium lauryl ethyl sulfate or ester sulfate. There's a couple derivatives. So that ethoxylated version, that ester sulfate, means that product, that ingredient, sodium lauryl sulfate, has been ethoxylated. Makes it a little less harsh as a skin irritant, way more effective as a cleaning agent. But that ethoxylation process kicks off a byproduct. And that byproduct of the ethoxylation process is 1,4-dioxane. 1,4-dioxane is a documented carcinogen. And they don't have to list 1,4-dioxane on the ingredient list because it's not an ingredient. It's a byproduct. So anytime you see this ethoxylated ester in the actual thing, stay away from those. There are, as a class of chemicals that are used mostly in preservatives, called phenols. And there are dozens of derivatives. Anything you see phenol, PHENOYL, phenol. So phenol in its purest form was used to exterminate humans in Auschwitz and Dachau in Germany, right, during Nazi concentration camp days. So phenol is a very, very highly, highly dangerous chemical, but it works as a great preservative. Many, many companies, not just in cleaning, but skincare, personal care, cosmetics, use different derivatives of phenols in order to preserve their products. I would highly recommend you stay away from those. Anything that has a color, right? So we buy at our company, Truly Free Home. We buy a lot of ingredients, right? We've become one of the largest non-toxic chemical manufacturers in the country. We buy lots and lots of raw ingredients. And I will tell you that 99.5 or so percent of the raw ingredients that we buy to make a product are white, they're clear, maybe pale yellow, pale off-white. None of the raw ingredients that we buy that actually clean or do things are blue. They're not green, right? They're not orange or red. So know that anytime you see a colorant, and they don't have to list these, right? So these are, again, such small amounts, nobody really lists these. You have to like visually inspect. If you see a colorant in your product, if it's a window cleaner or if it's on a laundry, you don't want it. You don't want these colorants because you don't know what they are. I don't even know what they are. I'm not allowed to know what they are because they're hidden from a label. So the challenge, Chantel, with this industry is that unlike the food industry, where you can walk down the aisle in the supermarket, as we know, you should be walking around the perimeter, never go in the middle of the supermarket. But if you're in the middle of the supermarket and you're grabbing, a processed food, by law, they have to list by concentration, right? The most important ingredient, that's all the way down to the smallest, every single thing that's in that food product. That's law, right? USDA law. Food manufacturers have to do that. The cleaning chemical industry does not. So I'd love to say, oh, if you see this, then do this. But the problem is most companies don't even list their ingredients. They'll just say, hey, a blend of ionic or anionic surfactants, a blend of fragrances, perfume, and they don't actually disclose what's in it.
So you guys know I've interviewed women all across the country that have been naturally thin their whole life with no dieting, no gimmicks. I interviewed over 1,000 women. I asked them, what'd you eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And they told me everything. And so I actually have written 4 books now with all of these insights. I have put their secrets all right there. And so if you're tired of just the diet roller coaster and you just cannot lose that weight, I have a book called Waste Away. That's the very first one. That's how I break down how I discovered intermittent fasting, how it changed my body, and how thin eaters, they don't even call it intermittent fasting. They just do it. Fasting to Freedom is another book I wrote. It goes deeper. It's more into the spiritual and emotional side of fasting. It brings clarity and confidence, and it really kind of teaches you how to do a little bit longer fasting. Then I have One Meal and a Tasting. It's my most practical guide. It just walks you step by step through how you can live a sustainable fasting lifestyle and literally the exact things that these women did while enjoying the foods you love. And then finally, a Bible study that's called Freedom from Food. And this is like a 6-week study that you can do with a group of friends. It's really fun to do with a group. These books are the complete bundle. So if you go to chantelrayway.com, we're actually doing a one free giveaway for the complete bundle. So if you go to our Facebook group, it's the Intermittent Fasting and OMAD group, make sure you join. We're going to do a free contest for a free bundle for one lucky person. But if you want it right away, just grab the free bundle. It's the cheapest it's ever been because we want you to get your breakthrough, your body, your rules, your breakthrough. ChantelRayway.com. I want to talk about sodium lauryl sulfate because that one is really, really hard to find where a soap that does not have that. There's some French soaps, there's just, some Castile like Dr. Bronner soaps that, things like that. But does your products contain sodium lauryl sulfate
Oh,
in them?
no, 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 of course not. We don't blend with any of those types of ingredients. We don't blend with sodium lauryl ester sulfate. Yeah, we don't blend with any ethoxylated surfactants. 100% of everything that we make is plant-based, plant-derived. We hold ourselves such an incredible standard with, we don't even look at we look at EWG as one of our guiding lights. We don't even look at the clean side of it. We look at their cosmetic ratings. Because even the EWG, for those that, focus, go on there, the challenge is you'll have a raw ingredient, right? That on the clean safe side of EWG may have it as a 4 or 5, like, oh my gosh, this is super dangerous. But it'll be a 0 or 1 on their skin safe site. It's like, wait a
Mm.
second. So this ingredient is safe enough for me to put on my face and my skin, but it's too dangerous for me to spray on my toilet where I'm going to sit and do the business. It's like a pork chop in a synagogue. It makes no sense, right? So, but
That's hysterical. I've never heard that one.
I made it up.
You
So,
know what I always say? Like, I'll give you an example of what I always say. Okay, trying to find soap without sodium lauryl sulfate is like trying to get a Tic Tac out of Moby Dick. That's what I always say. Like when something's hard to find, I'm like, that's like trying to get a Tic Tac out of Moby Dick.
that's
Um,
true.
but it's very true. So, okay, keep going.
So sodium lauryl sulfate, just to kind of talk through that, right? It is the most widely produced, cheapest, and it's very efficacious. Does a great job at removing stains. And it's not just used in cleaning. It's used in toothpaste. It's used in skincare. It's used in cake mixes. Like
Mm.
literally, like food manufacturers use SLS in their cake batters, like in the cake mixes, like if you make your confetti cake, birthday cakes, so that makes the cake smoother and easier to, to flow into, in the pan. So it is a very, very widely used chemical. That there's other chemicals that are used even in the vaccine industry, right? There are surfactants like, Triton 100, which we could buy by tanker. Very, very widely used surfactant, very harsh surfactant. It's used in the medical industry in making vaccines, so it spreads the fibers of the cells so that vaccines can pass the blood-brain barrier and the gut lining barrier and really permeate the whole genome. I'll leave my opinions out of it. And so this is, the chemical industry. It's a very necessary one. We have to clean clothes. We got to get our dishes clean. I mean, there's things that have to happen. I get it. But, the industry needs reform. And we've been on the cutting edge of that reform for many, many years.
I love it. So, anything else I want you to talk about, like in the kitchen or in the laundry room, other things that people wouldn't necessarily think about that they might need to clean or really keep track of, like maybe inside the washer or where like mold can build up or anything like that that you can share with the listeners?
Yeah, for sure. So laundry, I always say, is the most toxic place in the home. And mostly because if for those that, are buying the store-bought blue goo or goopy goo, even some of the, the quote unquote green brands that leave these chemical films behind, is it's more than just, right, what gets flushed down the drain and the environmental impact. I often have done this test, and I ask everyone to do this. Like, if you use the blue goo, go grab a towel from your linen closet, and go grab a bowl, fill it up with hot water, and throw the towel in it, and agitate the towel underneath the hot water. See what happens. What will happen if you use the store bought stuff, especially if you use high concentrations of it, is that water will turn cloudy. You'll have like little bubbles form around because it's literally building up a residue of film inside your fabrics. It's on your towels, it's on your sheets, it's on your pillowcases, on your underwear, it's on your shirts, it's everywhere. And if you're not a nudist, and in prison, you wear clothes. If you sleep on bedding, if you use a towel when you come out of the shower, you are rehydrating those chemicals with either your perspiration or your hot, open, poured, wet body coming out of the shower. You're rehydrating those chemicals, you're making these micro suds, and you're rubbing them onto your skin. So most people are living their lives covered in laundry and cleaning products their entire lives. So that's why I say that's super most important thing you got to get rid of. Right behind that is you got to go to the dishwasher and the top of the kitchen sink. We've all seen the commercials of, the type of tablets and pods and these things that to get your dishes clean. And they do. They clean the dishes. And you see the video of the beautiful hand model that goes squeak, that's squeaky clean on the glass. But know that those products, again, leave a film. They're designed to leave a film. That squeaky clean is not that there's nothing there and you're feeling glass. You're feeling a chemical residue, right? So there are rinse aids and different products that are designed to leave this coating on your mugs, on your glasses, on your plates. So when you grab your favorite cup of tea, like I'm drinking now, or your coffee mug, most of like coffee is acidic. Mostly teas are acidic, and you're hot. So you add hot and acidic. That is like a perfect environment to take actually and break down those films, those chemicals that are left on your coffee mug. So we spend all this money on organic, fair trade, single origin, no mycotoxin, amazing coffee, like from like my favorite coffee, Life Boost. And you're like drinking that coffee in, and it's flavored with your dish soap. And we don't even know this stuff, So you have these chemicals. So like your dryer, when you're walking down the street, when someone's doing laundry because you could smell their laundry, right? You could say, oh, I can know they're using that brand because it smells like that brand all the way down the street. But the dryer exhausts outside of the house. Your dishwasher doesn't have an external exhaust. It has a front exhaust. So when all those chemicals are being dried up or heated up, they're getting exhausted right through the front of the dishwasher, and you and your kids are breathing that stuff in. Same thing with dish soap, right? These chemicals are so viscous and they're designed to suds up. They don't go away. And we're drinking this stuff in. That's what, if you're using these things, you get a glass, you go to your refrigerator or you fill up a glass of water, you see that little rim of bubbles sitting around your water glass. That's these chemicals. And we and our kids are drinking these things in. So I think those are the
Yeah.
two.
So even if you have like a nice water filter and you're using toxic, dishwasher soap, and then like you said, especially if you're adding hot water into that cup, you're just basically drinking all those chemicals that are in the dishwashing detergent, and people don't think about that.
We think we're doing good by going to farmers markets, growing our own gardens. We're buying organic produce from local farmers, grass-fed, grass-finished beef. Like we spend so much money as families now, right? Trying to feed our families the healthiest foods that we can. And that's awesome. And then we take that, again, wonderful, healthy coffee, or that grass-fed, grass-finished beef, or this organic produce from the farmer's market, and we put it on plates and dishes that are coated in chemicals and eating it. It's bizarre, right? So, the thing is, and that's why I appreciate your work and so many other thought leaders in the health space, like awakening people to that there's more to the story than just going to your neighborhood Whole Foods and just buying some organic carrots. There's more to the story.
Well, I will tell you one of the things that I cannot believe that so many spas and like even health and wellness places that I've been into, they will have these Glade plugins. So like when you go into the bathroom, there's like a Glade plugin. I went to like this stretch and yoga place one time, and they kind of had all this stuff on their wall about like it was kind of like a spa and a yoga place, and they had like organic spray tan, and then they had all these organic things that they did. But as soon as you walked in, they had a Glade plug-in in the bathroom, a Glade plug-in when you first walk in. Talk about just the air fresheners and how toxic those are.
The typical house in America is 3.5 times more toxic than the outdoor air in the worst city of America. So if you take some of the worst air quality in the big manufacturing, kind of like really gross areas of America, the average home is 3.5 times air quality more toxic than the most toxic cities in the country. The average home in America is 1 to 2 times more toxic than some of the most toxic outdoor air qualities of any place on the planet. I just spent time in India. There is some woof. Like, you want to talk about outdoor air quality in some of the cities that I've been to in India, it's rough. China, Asia, where they don't have the same EPA air handling standards that we do here in the US, and the average home is more toxic than the outdoor area in these cities. Why? Because of things we're talking about today, right? People are using scented candles. They're using those, electrically charged scent type products. I can't use the name like you could use it because I have a brand. You don't have you don't get held to the same liability standards as I do, and I'm a very large, moving target right now. But those types of electrically charged things that you plug into the wall that give off scent that you mentioned, people use the sticks. They're using these scent beads on laundry. They're putting scented candles and wicking things, sprays. These things are bizarrely toxic, and I'd love to tell you why. I'd love to tell you how toxic they are, but I can't, because most of them don't even tell you what's in them. We're just the guinea pig in this really big experiment, hoping that our immune systems can detoxify this barrage that we're putting them under. So I hate to spread doom and gloom here, but there's a better way. And the better way is don't use them. Like,
Yeah.
just don't use them.
Well, this has been amazing. You guys, I want you to go to trulyfreehome.com. Use coupon code Chantel Ray, all uppercase, and you guys can get a huge discount because they are all about making you feel good about your clean laundry detergent. You deserve to have laundry detergent that's gentle on your skin, that's made with all natural ingredients, and is not toxic. So I really want you to go there, use the coupon code Chantel Ray, all uppercase, and get a huge discount. And what would be your top selling products? Like if you had to put in order the top three things that people are buying from you that are the biggest things, either in laundry, bathroom, kitchen, or like for the whole home.
Yeah. So our top selling, big fan faves, number one by far is our laundry wash, right? So our non-toxic refillable laundry detergent by far is our number one top seller. Closely followed with our automatic dishwasher soap. We spent a long time developing that product too, Chantel, and it's a great product to get your dishes clean. No residues get left behind. We have an everyday cleaner, which is like an all-purpose cleaner you can use anywhere in the house. our Oxy Boost, which is an oxygen brightener, but you can use it in laundry. But there's hundreds of places all over the house, like from the toilet to kitchen sinks, the glass countertops that you can use to
And
clean.
then do you use that for the laundry too?
Yeah, so you use that on your white, so it's a bleach alternative as well. So it's like an oxygen brightener. It's a great product for getting the whites white without the need for using like harsh chlorines and bleaches and obviously UV brighteners and things like that.
And if
So
you
those
have
are
a
the
son
tops.
like me that plays baseball, that comes home with white pants that are completely covered in brown mud, then you definitely need to have something to whiten those for
Yep.
sure.
And for the grease, for those types of grass stains, they are enzyme stain remover, which like really eats up all of those types of organic stains. Works great too.
I love it. Well, it has been a pleasure having you on, and thank you for caring so much about. I think the one thing that I really want people to realize is that what you said about that dishwashing soap, I think is so powerful. Think about if you're washing your dishes with that toxicity, then turning around and drinking it, there has to be some residue on there. And I don't think people think that. And I don't think people think as hard about what they're putting in their laundry, like you said, as what they're putting in their food. So I really want you to really consider that, guys, because it is more important than you think. And I know everyone's trying to live a non-toxic lifestyle as much as they can. So, Stephen, thanks for all you're doing to help everyone live a more non-toxic lifestyle. And if you guys are not part of our Facebook group for non-toxic family, join us there. All right. Well, thank you so much,
Thanks,
Stephen.
Chantel. Great
We're out of
conversation.
time right now, but we'll see you next time. Have a great one. Bye bye for now.